Earlier, we featured PNG Ports Corporation's introduction of modern technology to boost operations at its major port facilities of Lae and Port Moresby. Well, unsurprisingly, PNG Customs Service has announced its plans to build container examination facilities at the two major port areas. Hi, I'm Festus Maiganap. Welcome to this edition of Business PNG. The PNG Customs Service Container Examination Facility will be purpose-built, integrated facilities that will house a range of equipment and technology, including container X-ray machines that will enable speedy inspection of selected sea cargo. David Korn, CEO of Port Moresby Chamber of Commerce and Industry, recently spoke with PNG Customs Commissioner Ray Paul, trying to envisage where the project stands at the moment and the main aim behind the examination facility.
Commissioner, Paul has been talking to us this morning at the Chamber breakfast on the container examination facility. Tell us a little bit about that, Commissioner.
Container examination facility, as you all are aware, it's a project supported by the government of Papua New Guinea. The purpose of the project, why we intend for this project by PNG Customs, it's part of our modernization program. In line with our affiliation to WCO, World Customs Organization. It's one of the modernization programs they have in place where we have to have a container examination facility for the fast movement of cargo processing. You know, we cannot, like it is now, we inspect the containers manually, and you can just imagine the time involved in that. And
so these are international requirements basically now as the world becomes more secure. Every container going to be examined, or how is that going to work?
No, we just imagine if we're going to inspect all the containers. You can just imagine, you know, we'll have a really.
Well, how many containers, for example? How many containers come across Port Moresby, for example?
Currently, from the report that we had, that was provided to us by PNG Ports. In 2011, there's about 30,000 containers that comes to Port Moresby.
And double that amount in Lae?
Yes, double the amount in Lae.
Wow,
and that's basically the amount of containers. So you just imagine for us to check that. It's not feasible. It cannot be done, you see. So what we're going to do is we will go by risk management of these containers, and only the ones that we see that needs to be checked, we will check.
So how do you assess that risk? How do you get on that blacklist, so to speak?
We have a profiling system in place, targeting. So those that we profile that are high risk, those are the only ones that we will check.
Okay.
So that means that.
So these are people who have done something wrong before,
or people that we profile, or the company, the origin, or anything that strikes our interest. In line with the profiling, they'll be definitely tackled.
All right, so you identify that container for examination.
Yes.
What happens then?
When we identify for examination, when we have the X-ray, what's going to happen is we'll bring it to our CEF, the container examination.
Does the client get advised at that stage?
The client may be informed, but there are times that we will not inform them.
I see,
depending on the nature of what is in there.
So if you thought it was something of a criminal nature or something, you would not involve them. I see. Okay.
So it varies, but definitely in time we will inform the client if they need to be informed. But we will make sure that if we check something, we will return them as they are.
So where do these containers go? I heard you mention a new facility to do this.
Yes, for Port Moresby, we intend to build a facility at Motorcare.
I see.
That will be out of town. They'll build it and we'll lease.
Well, why Motorcare? I noticed some of the agents this morning looking quite shocked. They thought of the container going to the other side of the harbour.
No, why we choose Motorcare? Because we need the land.
I see.
Yeah, we need about 2 hectares to have this facility installed, because if it's so tight that you have many other people looking in and wanting to see, oh, what is customs doing in there? You know, so to prevent that, we need a whole space where officers can be at ease.
So this would be a completely secured area, I assume.
It has to be secured.
So you're talking about emptying the container, taking the whole container out?
If it needs to take the whole container out, we will. But if there is a certain part of the container that we only need to inspect, that is of suspicious, we will just go to that part and that's it.
Okay. So how long does the actual examination take, the scanning of the container, how long does that take?
The examination alone will take about less than 10 minutes.
I see.
Okay. So it would be the officers that sit in the profiling that will go through the assessment, they will pick up if there's something, whether it's organic or non-organic, because you have, you know, discrimination of colors there.
And your staff have been trained now to assess what's in the container?
Yes. Currently we have staff who have been trained to use examination, the X-ray images. They know how to read. But we will have further trainings as well for the similar equipment that we intend.
You're emptying out. So you're emptying out the whole container and then repacking it again. Who's going to do that? Is it custom staff, or you're going to outsource? Who will do that?
There'll be two parts that we will outsource. Firstly, we will have agreements with three different groups. Firstly, the stevedore, to move the containers that we've identified. The second group is the transport company. We cannot engage any company that is currently running. We have to have a dedicated one for our purpose, because we'll have to GPS the car. We'll have to coordinate and see where it's going, you know. Anything happens around here and everywhere else for that matter. So, and then the unpack and the repack team. We will have to identify a group who think they can do this job. It's a specialized job. You have to pack it the same way it was packed when it was exported. So it has to be a specialized.
It still has to be sold by the client. You still got to sell the item. Yeah.
Right.
Is there some concern on that? On that? I mean, to empty out a container, and I guess agents and clients are worried about things going missing. I mean, what can you say to them to defray those sort of those issues for them?
Well, firstly, we will want to have a specialist group that knows how to repack and unpack containers. We will want them trained, and we will have a fixed terms of reference of how a standard operating procedure of how they should pack and unpack containers.
Yes.
So it cannot be just any group that will just pick off the street and just come into the job. You can't.
Fairly specialised work.
That's right.
Yes,
it's a specialised.
So the actual scan's 10 minutes. What sort of performance standards are you imposing on yourself to get this container checked and back to the wharf?
Basically, if with the standards we have in place, like I said, the officers are trained to read the images, and if we need to go by what is not right, then we've identified, we will definitely inform the client.
Do stay with us. There's more on the container examination facility when we come back. The container examination facilities will assist PNG Customs Service to detect prohibited goods, including illicit drugs, illegal firearms, smuggled tobacco and cigarettes, and other non-compliant goods. The facilities will also contribute towards increasing revenue collection. They will house container X-ray machines capable of inspecting up to 2 sea cargo containers at a single time. The facility in the capital city will be built at Motukere, a few kilometers northwest of the main wharf.
Container is identified for examination. It's taken out in a secure process to Motukere, it's checked, it's repacked. How long is that process likely to be?
The process involved would be, we will want to work within our required time, and that is 48 hours.
48 hours, okay.
2 days to at least get it back. But like I said, if we have issues with the container, we will inform the client concerned that we have these issues, and for that reason we will delay the container. And these are things that we will want to work with.
And now I guess the $64,000 question, what's the additional cost? I mean, number one, who's bearing the cost of setting this up? And what cost will there be to the agents and then eventually to the consumer?
Okay, thank you. Firstly, the initial cost now will be cared for by taken on by the government of Papua New Guinea and PNG Customs Service setting that. But in time, we will want to increase the cost of the entries that are lodged. Currently, it's 30 kina per entry. We will want to increase that, but we will get the industry informed on this and how best and where we want to. I don't think it would go more, but it would be something reasonable.
So this on the Casta, there may be an additional charge?
The additional charge.
Okay.
Like for every entry that you lodge now, we charge you a 30 kilo.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about this, Ray. I mean, so in Australia, what do you pay for customs entry? Would it be 30 kina? More than that?
Well, let me say, I don't work in Australia.
No, I know that.
I don't understand the process.
Yeah, but you know, surely we need to benchmark these things.
Benchmark, I think the reasonable price should be somewhere less than 100 kina.
Okay.
I would think so, within that range, but yes, that would be. Right. But I don't think it would be more than that. But like I said, we will do consultation with the industry.
Okay, good.
And tell them what it is. And
I don't think we can. Well, let's see how that works. As you know, but once you start talking about additional costs, we'll see what comes out in the wash there. I think from a business point of view, a lot of businesses would say, frankly, look, if it's a change between 30 kina and 100 kina, but I get the delivery times, I get everything working okay, I'm going to cop 100 kina, and I think a lot of customers would probably be willing to do it. The issue is performance, and maybe I can just sort of finish off. You've only been a year in the job in customs, and congratulations for surviving a year. I'm sure you look forward to seeing you in that position. We've heard good things since you've arrived there. How are things in customs? There's a lot of talk about the relationship between customs, NACWIA, PNG port. I have a lot of information and a lot of complaints, quite frankly, coming across my table every day about delays and movement of cargo off the wharf. We don't get good news there. What's your take on that from within customs?
Thank you. You see, it's not an easy world for us at this moment. We are still understaffed.
Okay.
We have not moved into our new office yet. And just imagine the number of flights that are cleared on a daily basis.
You handle that as well?
We handle that as well. And the offices at the airport, they are below the required ceiling of how much should work there, as well as at the port level, at the post office. And even dealing with queries on a daily basis, man, it's a nightmare. Exemption coming in and things like that. You know, everybody's trying to do about, one person is doing about 6, 7 people's job at one time. But let me say, you know, from the response I got this morning from certain brokers, they said they're very impressed with.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I certainly can say the complaint flow has slowed down.
Thank you.
So I mean that's good, and the agents are the first to tell us. What's government doing then? I mean, are you approaching government to get up to full ceiling to get the proper amount of staff? I mean, and these are not staff you can just pick off the street. They have to be trained. What is government doing? Because there's a role there, surely, for government to assist you.
Let me say this: government is very supportive. I am thankful to my minister as well for assisting us. Firstly, to prevent the drain
from your organization.
From our organization. They've given us, the government has given us money for the institutional housing which we have bought. That's a bonus for us.
Yes.
They have provided support on the area of training as well. They've given us money, and I'm really thankful that, you know, for the first time, and let me put it on record, people eventually in the government level have seen the importance of people that collect money.
Well, I was just about to say that. You're the major revenue collector, so they should do, yes.
They've now put it down to actual, living, walking the talk, let me say. And I'm very thankful, and I'm sure as well for 2013, recurrent budget, they will give us good money as well. And you can just imagine, you know, the work that our officers are doing now. Oh, they're doing a lot of work. And I take my hat to all the officers, my fellow officers, customs officers. They're doing a good job. But it's that recognition that is coming up that I'm thankful, and I thank the predecessor for setting the pace for that, and we're just continuing on that.
Keep the pace going. Well, it's good that government is. I mean, I guess you have to spend money to make money, and you need an organisation fully staffed, fully equipped, fully organised to run these things. We'll see what budget brings for you. Obviously, budget next week, and I guess we're all hopeful that you'll get the resources that you need.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. That's been Commissioner Ray Paul, the Commissioner of Customs, speaking with us today on Business PNG, talking about the container examination facility and a few of the issues within Customs PNG.
After the break, David talks to Catherine Ellis, Director, Youth Affairs Division of the Commonwealth Secretariat, about the 8th Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting in April next year. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business PNG. Now, Papua New Guinea's capital, Port Moresby, will play host to the 8th Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting in April next year. The event will be chaired by the Minister for Youth, Religion and Community Development, Lujaya Tony. Representatives from all 53 active member countries of the Commonwealth will be present. Another opportunity for our business community.
Welcome back to Business PNG. With me in the studio, Catherine Ellis, the Director of Youth Affairs with the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. All the way from London to hot, steamy Port Moresby. Catherine, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Are you finding it a little bit hot?
It is a little bit steamy, yes. Particularly it's going into winter now in the UK.
All right.
So.
Exciting year in London, obviously, with Diamond Jubilee and with the Olympics. What brings you to our shores in Papua New Guinea?
Well, we have the very exciting responsibility of planning the Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting here next April. So I'm here for a planning visit for that.
All right. So youth ministers from the whole Commonwealth?
From the whole Commonwealth.
Wow. Okay.
So all 53 active countries of the Commonwealth.
Okay.
Hopefully they will all send a delegation and we'll have the youth ministers here and their senior officials and also youth leaders from those countries.
So that's a big event.
Yes, it is a big event.
How many people do you anticipate being in Port Moresby?
Probably between 150 and 250.
Okay, all right. So from a business point of view, we can be happy. A lot of rooms, a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of business,
That's right.
a lot of motorcades, etc.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so is there a theme for this year's conference, for next year's conference?
Yes, reflecting the position that the Commonwealth takes on young people, that they are assets and we should be developing them and empowering them and embracing them as part of our society. The theme is going to be young people at the centre of sustainable development.
Do we have a chairperson for next year's meeting? Or?
So the chair is the minister here, responsible for
our minister?
Minister
Okay.
Tony, yes.
Okay.
And so she will be chairing the conference and we're obviously very much supported by the Commonwealth Secretariat and her counterpart ministers from all over the Commonwealth will be joining and discussing.
A new minister, so that'll be a big challenge for her, and I'm sure she'll be up to that. So what do you expect to be discussing in this forum?
What we're trying to focus on is what's really important for young people in the Commonwealth today. So obviously youth employment will be top of the list. Every youth minister I speak to, that's
the major challenge for everyone, how to employ
absolutely,
these young people, yes.
And we'll also be looking at young people having a voice, so in democratic processes and being included in decision making.
And social media. I mean, we're starting to learn here. We're catching up very quickly.
Absolutely. Well, social media sort of permeates everything. And actually, a young person said to me not long ago, "It's really weird when you older people speak about being into Twitter. For us, that's like saying you're into the telephone."
Yes.
So we sort of have social media as an underpinning, definitely.
Oh, well, I feel really put down as an older person into Twitter now. Okay, I'm going to shut my account down now. So, I quite enjoy my Twitter.
Absolutely, you enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah.
What we're also doing is using Google Moderator. We've got a website set up where young people across the Commonwealth can actually come online and give their thoughts on what the agenda for the meeting should be.
I see. Okay.
Should be speaking about.
And that's something you can give me. I can advertise to our youth. So so people can contribute and make sure what gets discussed is what they want to hear.
Exactly.
Okay, well that's youth empowerment, if anything.
Right.
Okay, Papua New Guinea has a huge demographic, a youth demographic. I mean, our pyramid is huge. I think over 43% of our population under 18, I think it is. Those are similar challenges in the Commonwealth?
It is. I think the statistics are something like 60% of the population of the Commonwealth is under 30.
Wow.
So, and the cohort we focus on is 15 to 29-year-olds.
I'm glad you mentioned that because in Papua New Guinea we have a bit of a struggle. What's a young person? I go to a lot of youth meetings and I see people that look older than I am representing youth. And I had to laugh at our golf club. One of our young golfers, the MC said, when you finish shaving, maybe you're no longer a youth. So 15 to 29 is that bracket. So 29 still, for young people, they would still consider that quite old.
It is. It's really the upper limit in my view,
Okay.
and it's the official Commonwealth age group. Because what we did is we sort of scanned the Commonwealth and looked at how each country classifies its young people.
Yes.
And it was everything from a maximum of 25 through to a maximum of 40.
Okay.
And we sort of stopped at 30.
Is there a voice from people at 15? I mean, I know in, being a proud Scot, I noticed that they're now going to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in the referendum on devolution. Is there a voice for 15? Are they vocal, 15?
They can be.
Yes.
And this is the really interesting thing about working with young people, and what we try to really showcase at any event that we're doing with young people and young leaders is that if you give them the space and the resources and the support and the belief, they are amazing, and they can produce the most extraordinary efforts that you would be surprised to see from someone of a 50.
Will there be a space for those young people in this forum coming up?
There will. So on our organising committee, we have a Commonwealth Secretariat organising committee and a PNG government task force. We're working together. And we have young people on those committees, PNG young people working with us. So,
do we have one already?
Yes.
We have some organisation here in PNG?
So we're actually got individual young leaders who we're working with, who are on our teams, but we're also engaging with organisations that work with young people. So for example, we had a group together yesterday, and one of the representatives there was the executive director of The Voice, which is a student group at university. So we're hoping also that we'll bring some of those young people in as liaison officers to look after the ministers when they're in Port Moresby. But most importantly, every country sends youth delegates to the conference, and they have their own youth forum for 2 days before the ministerial meeting starts. And then they attend the ministerial meeting as delegates from their country.
So our young people will be able to interact with all these delegates coming from around the world?
They will, that's right.
Wow.
Yes,
okay.
yes. And we're actually running a training of PNG young leaders in February to develop them and prepare them, and a selection of those young people will be the leaders who represent PNG at the conference.
All right.
Yeah.
So our young people need to be engaged now and listening to find these opportunities to get involved in this.
Don't go away, there's more on the other side of the break. The meeting will benefit youth in the country and the Pacific in terms of sustaining development and opportunities. One area of concern common in all Commonwealth nations is employment opportunities.
So you travel around the Commonwealth. What's the concerns of these young people? Is it just a job, or they got a lot more concerns? What's the trend that you're finding?
For a start, when we talk about young people wanting jobs, what they want are good jobs.
Yes.
So it's a very important distinction, I think, we need to make, and particularly with the Millennium Development Goals, meaning that so many more young people are better educated, they have higher expectations as well, and if you can leverage that education for your country, it's brilliant. But if you can't, it actually exacerbates.
It can be a bigger problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did hear you talking about MDGs and what happens after 2015. I guess you've read our figures, and we have to get to 2015 first before we think about going afterwards. So there are some of the major concerns. I mean, you say they want a job, but they want a good job.
Another thing that's very important to young people is having a voice, and feeling that their opinions and their perceptions and their needs are being considered in the bigger development and picture, and that they themselves have the right to put that voice forward. That there's not, as you say, some 50-year-old speaking on their behalf. So it's very important, and there's a real sense of frustration if they don't get that opportunity.
You've been here just over a week. What sense do you get in Papua New Guinea that, say, a minister and a government are aware of the need to engage these young people? Are you getting a sense that they realise how important that is?
I think they do, and I think they're very committed. I met with Minister Tony yesterday, and she was very committed to what can be done for young people and development, and the Foreign Minister also I spoke with yesterday, and he also is very keen, obviously, to showcase PNG to the rest of the world, since that's his mandate. But looking at it through the lens of young people of PNG and what they can do in the world, and how PNG as a leader in the Pacific can support the other countries in the Pacific and their young leaders as well.
Any specifics from the youth? I mean, you've been talking to some of the youth leaders, specific things to PNG that you haven't heard anywhere else, or is it all a common trend?
One of the the big concerns for young people here seems to be about the capacity in the education system and the need for more spaces so that young people with potential are able to go further through the education system.
Good point, and in terms of some of the other threats to them, I mean, substance abuse, HIV and AIDS, I mean, are you sensing an awareness there in our youth?
Yeah, it's very much a concern. Health issues generally, and HIV/AIDS is a big
Violence against women?
Security,
yes.
So whether that's domestic violence or whether it's violence on the streets or lack of security on the streets, it's definitely a concern. And it's been very interesting to me here this week that the sort of focus on making sure that people get out of the office and home before it gets dark and that kind of thing. So that's very interesting.
And the girls dressing down before they go on buses, etc. Yeah, major problems. Yeah. Is that something that happens in other Commonwealth countries? It's not just unique to Papua New Guinea?
No, it's not. I mean, it's the sort of situation that you have in any country that's struggling through a change in emerging economy and growing groups of young people and being affected by the global financial crisis. You know, a lot of things have come together at this point in history.
As you travel around the Commonwealth, any countries that are coming that you think are something we should look at? Examples with glowing lights that we should look at? Don't want to get you into trouble here, but
I don't know that I can say any one specific country that's doing something that PNG should look at. I think there'll be some very interesting conversations at the conference around youth employment and how different countries are addressing that. And I know that the government here is keen to set up some kind of youth entrepreneurship scheme where young people can access finance. And there are quite a few countries in the Commonwealth that are doing that kind of work. And the Commonwealth Secretariat has actually been helping with that, with setting up those sort of schemes. So that's one thing.
Trying to encourage people to stop just thinking about getting a job, but you can actually use your skills to create a job. Yes, okay. All right, so well, hopefully lessons we can learn from that. So an exciting period in April. We'll see you back before April, or
probably
not till then?
But definitely the team will be back before.
Do we have a team within PNG government already?
Yes,
who are the contacts there?
There's a task force that's been set up by the PNG government, and it's working very closely with the National Youth Commission. And it's led by the chairman Alan Oasa and deputy chairman Kunabe Yua.
Okay.
So both of them will be very keen to talk with anybody who's interested in knowing about the conference and maybe supporting it in some way.
All right. Well, happy, obviously from a chamber point of view, happy to talk to you and assist in any way. I think we've got a few programs, as I've said to you, we can show you that maybe some of you. Maybe some will learn something from Papua New Guinea. We never know.
I hope so. I think everybody can learn it from everybody, and that's the point of these conferences.
Okay. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you.
With me in the studio today was Catherine Ellis, the Director of Youth Affairs with the Commonwealth Secretariat in London, speaking to us about the Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting in April 2013, meeting all ministers from the Commonwealth. Exciting times in April 2013.
That has been our edition of Business PNG. And before we go, to our valued viewers and corporate clients, our program will be recessed as of the 18th of December. In the meantime, we will be replaying the best of 2012. And to those who'd like to view our programs online, follow the link now shown on your screen. Comments and suggestions, send them through to businesspng@mtv.com.pg. I'm Festus Maiginap. See you next Tuesday.